Welcome to the Explainer. You hear the phrase kingdom of heaven all the time, right? But have you ever really stopped to wonder what it's supposed to look like? Well, today, we're going to do just that. We're taking a guided tour through a really classic, super detailed blueprint of the afterlife. We'll explore its structure, its society, and, what it really means to be a citizen there.
All right, so our whole journey kicks off with this incredibly powerful invitation. This is the one that's said to be given at the final judgment. And look, this is way more than just a simple welcome. It's a profound promise, a promise of inheriting a state of just, eternal happiness.
And yeah, that really is the big question, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing to hear the term kingdom of heaven, but it's another thing entirely to really dig into what it's all about. And this text, it offers this rich, almost architectural blueprint of what it's imagined to be. So let's dive in and unpack that vision piece by piece.
Okay, so we're going to break this down into 5 parts. We'll start with the ultimate invitation, then we'll get into your heavenly coronation, explore the kingdom itself, look at the divine society, and wrap up with the promise of an everlasting reign.
All right, first up, the ultimate invitation. And you got to understand, this is not some casual, hey, come on in. No, not at all. It's framed as this incredibly solemn public inauguration. It's the moment, the exact moment your right to the kingdom is formally recognized in front of, everyone and everything.
So, what's next? Your heavenly coronation. Because, and this is a huge point, inheriting this kingdom isn't just about, getting a new place to live. No, according to this vision, it actually means you become royalty yourself. Pretty amazing, right?
And we're not just talking about some empty, symbolic title here. This new royal status, it's said to come with real power. We're talking absolute mastery over your own internal struggles, things like sin or, unruly passions, and even dominion over the external forces that might have once oppressed you.
So as new royalty, you get all the symbols of your new office, the whole package. There's a throne for rest and for honor. You get a crown, but it's not made of gold. It's a crown of glory, life, and righteousness. There's a scepter symbolizing your new authority. And of course, the royal apparel, these incredible white robes.
And those white robes, wow, they are just packed with meaning. It's not just a piece of clothing, right? They're said to represent 5 different things all at once. First, freedom from any kind of bondage. Second, perfect purity. Third, your admission into a royal priesthood. Fourth, total and complete victory. And finally, just endless, uninterrupted joy.
Okay, so you've been crowned. You're a king or a queen. The big question now is, where do you reign? Well, that's what Section 3 is all about. Let's take a virtual tour of the kingdom itself.
So let me paint a picture for you. The setting is described as a heavenly country. Think of it as a superior version of reality. It's imagined as this land of perpetual spring, where it's always eternal daylight, and every single need is met without any work or toil. It's basically a perfected paradise. And right at the very heart of this incredible country stands the royal city, a New Jerusalem. And get this, its foundations are supposedly made of precious stones, and the walls themselves are built from jasper. Just imagine that.
But it gets even better. The very ground you walk on, it's made of a material we consider the absolute pinnacle of wealth here on Earth. The streets themselves are paved with pure gold. I mean, that suggests that the thing we value most down here is just like common building material up there. Mind-blowing, right?
Okay, let's continue our tour inside the city. What do we see? Well, there's a royal palace with, and I quote, many mansions for every single inhabitant. And then there's a paradise garden. Think of it as a perfected Eden, and it's complete with a tree of life and a river of the water of life.
All right, let's move on to the 4th part of our tour, the divine society. Because, as we all know, a kingdom is so much more than just a place, right? It's really about the people. And this vision, it describes a completely perfect social structure.
So, this society is basically made up of 3 interconnected communities. First, you've got fellowship with all the other saints. I mean, everyone who has ever lived. Then, you're in communion with holy angels. But the most important part, the absolute center, the very core of all existence there, is direct communion with God and the Lamb.
And this is maybe the most crucial point of all. It's about a fundamental shift in how you perceive everything. See, here on Earth, our understanding of the divine is described as indirect. It's like seeing a blurry, dim reflection in a mirror. But in heaven, all of that changes. Faith becomes sight. Knowledge is made perfect. And you see face to face in this direct, totally unobstructed communion. No more guesswork.
And that brings us to our final section, an everlasting reign. Because every single part of this experience we've talked about, your royal status, the perfect kingdom, the divine society, it's all defined by one last, absolutely critical quality.
And what is that quality? It's permanence. Think about it. Unlike literally anything here on Earth, this inheritance is described as incorruptible, meaning it can't decay. It's undefiled. It can't be stained or ruined. And it does not fade away. Its glory is eternal. What this creates is an absolute, unshakable certainty that this state of happiness, it will never end.
So when you step back, this incredibly detailed blueprint of perfection was crafted centuries ago, but the impulse behind it, that desire for a perfect world, feels totally timeless, doesn't it? And it kind of leaves us with a big question to chew on. What is our timeless fascination with happily ever after stories? What does that really reveal about our own deep search for meaning and permanence? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.